And the start of Wisconsin's harvest season is a great time to remind ourselves of some ways to stay safe on our roadways, around farm equipment, and at railroad crossings. And here to tell us more is Wisconsin's 76th Alice in Dairyland, Ashley Hagenow. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so first off, why is September an important time to remind ourselves about rail and farm safety?
In the month of September, it's certainly a busy time of year as students are returning back into the classroom, excuse me, and we have farmers back on Wisconsin roadways during the busy harvest season. We are recognizing Rail Safety Week this week in the third month of September, as well as National Farm Safety and Health Week, also recognized this week to promote awareness and education on rail safety as well as farm safety. The theme this week for National Farm Safety and Health Week is "No one can take your place," which I think is an incredibly important message to share about staying safe on Wisconsin roadways this harvest season.
Definitely very important. I know I just traveled through Illinois, I just told you before we went on, and I'm already seeing harvest equipment out and about over in parts of Illinois too. So the Midwest, I mean, we're starting to see harvest season starting.
It's definitely getting to be that time of year, and as we start to see larger pieces of farm equipment on Wisconsin roadways and across the Midwest, and as we might be traveling across railroad crossings as we're driving on roads, it's really important to keep some of these safety tips and messages in mind, as unfortunately there are many incidents on Wisconsin roadways and across railroad crossings that can be easily prevented.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have a railroad crossing here in Rhinelander actually, and I know it's not used often. I know the paper mill uses those, so it doesn't see a lot of traffic, but still even good reminders though. And I know farm equipment too. I mean, farmers, I mean, you gotta be smart. They can't go as fast as a vehicle can.
Of course, and some of those safety tips that I am sharing this month of September to keep in mind, and really to keep in mind all year round, include giving yourself plenty of time when leaving in the morning to get from point A to point B, especially if you do come across maybe a tractor or a combine on a Wisconsin roadway. And also when you're at a railroad crossing, be sure to yield and give yourself plenty of time to look both ways for trains that might be incoming. And of course, yield to those larger pieces of farm equipment and trains as you're driving on Wisconsin roadways.
Yeah, definitely good reminders all year round, especially the giving yourself time. That's good for both weather and farm equipment, just pretty much anything when you're traveling.
It really is, and it's all about being prepared, being aware, and really sharing the road with those pieces of farm equipment, with trains, as everyone has a job to do, and it's really important to keep those safety messages in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because last thing you want to see is those accidents to take place. So, and farmers, I mean, they're growing all the food that we consume too. That they're working out in the field to kind of help with that food, and gotta be nice to them.
I agree.
Yeah, and so, I mean, just what makes it like just kind of so important across the country for all of us to be so aware of this safety?
Of course, so safety is so important on farms, at railroad crossings. As we mentioned, agriculture is so important to produce food and other products that we all use every day as consumers. And railroad safety and farm safety go hand in hand, as approximately 60,000 carloads of food and agricultural products are transported every week across railways, not only in the state of Wisconsin, but really across the country. So as we talk about these safety messages, it not only affects agriculture, farm workers, family members, rural residents, but it also affects our railroad workers as well. So it impacts everyone truly across Wisconsin and across the nation to be safe as you're out on Wisconsin roadways and as you're crossing railroads.
Absolutely. And then where can we find more information about how we can stay informed on these topics of rail and farm safety?
On the topic of rail safety, I encourage you to visit the Wisconsin Operation Lifesaver website for great online resources on rail safety and rail safety education. For more information on farm safety, there is a great online resource, the National Education Center for Agricultural Safety, otherwise known as NECAS for short. They, again, are a great online resource for resources on farm first aid, safety kits, rescue programs, and other resources on farm safety.
I think the biggest kind of takeaway from all this, though, is definitely, obviously, educate. It's always very important, though, and just pack your patience and just take it slow and allow extra time, too. I mean, it's better to be late than obviously have an accident or something happen, because we don't need any train accidents or any farm equipment accidents.
You're very right. Again, no one can take your place. It's a really important message to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in and educating us on such an important topic.
Thank you again for having me.
Yes, and coming up, we have What's Trending, including